Well, hello everybody. I hope you are doing well today. If you know it, say it with me. I've got my coffee. I got my Bible. Of course, I have all of you, and I love you so much. Today is National Hot Dog Day. Can I tell you? Not a big hot dog fan, but I know that almost makes me un-American, right? There's so many hot dog fans out there, but I will tell you that like the Nathan, like beef hot dogs, I like those. And I am always impressed with the different things people like putting on their hot dogs. Like, I don't know, like, so you got the sauerkraut, you got the chili. I know people who put like the nacho cheese on their hot. So I want to know in the comments below, how do you like your hot dog? Like, do you like it just bun and dog, or do you like mustard only, mustard and ketchup, relish? How do you make your favorite kind of hot dog? I want in the comments below, and seriously, let me know, because I'm open to trying another one. And if I hear something that sounds really unique, like I did try a chili, coleslaw, and something else hot dog, and it was actually really good. And it might have been because I really couldn't taste the hot dog anymore, but I would love to try it. So let me know in the comments below the best way you like to make your hot dog, and I will possibly try one. And if I pick yours, I'll let you know, okay? All right. Welcome to the book of Acts, chapter 20. So we are walking through the book of Acts, and I have got one for you today. You may not have ever heard this before, but you're going to know about it today. It is out of Acts chapter 20, verse 9. But I want to start off with and say this. There's so many different people who watch these videos from literally now all over the world. And so all of our experiences with our life in Christ is so different. So for some of you, you may not have grown up in church at all. And so this might be lost on you a little bit. And for those of you who did grow up in church, there's so many different expressions of our worship to God. There's Catholic Church, there's Protestant. In the Protestant movement, there's various different types of churches. You've got Baptist, Methodist, Church of Christ. You get into some of the other Anglican, Presbyterian, all those different kind. But then you also get into the more Pentecostal versions, Assemblies of God, Church of God in Christ, all those different kinds. And you get into there's so many. So get a little smaller, you get into the Southeast. Now, I grew up in Alabama, and I grew up where we used to have church 3 times a week, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, and then any other excuse we could come up with. So 2 of the 3 were at night, and we would have long church services, okay? I'm talking about hours and hours. And as a kid, what we would do is our parents didn't say, I can't come to church because my kids have got to go to bed. What they would do is we would have these long pews. We didn't have chairs back then. We had pews and these long pews. And what they would do is they would put us on the floor underneath the pew and put a blanket over us, and that's where we would fall asleep. And they would just go and have church, and they could stand up and walk over here and do whatever, and they weren't going to run over any kid because they were having church. And I cannot tell you how many just memories I have of sleeping underneath the pew. And I got a couple of memories of waking up and hitting my head on those pews, and they're solid, okay? But that was my life. I grew up around church, slept underneath pews. That's what it was. Well, that makes sense when you hear the story I have for you today, okay? So Paul is getting ready to leave this church he's at, and he obviously had a lot of instruction he wanted to share with them, because every time Paul would leave, he wasn't sure if he's ever going to get to come back again. He planted this church from scratch, and so he's got a lot of things he wants to say before he goes. And so he's teaching, and he keeps teaching, and he keeps teaching, and it's getting on later and later and later into the night. And there's this poor young man. We don't know exactly how old he is. This is this young man. His name is Eutychus. And look what happens in chapter 20, verse 9. It says, as Paul spoke on and on, a young man named Eutychus, sitting on the windowsill, became very drowsy. Finally, he fell sound asleep and dropped 3 stories to his own death below. Wow. He's at church, he gets sleepy, falls asleep, falls to his death. That's bad, okay? Now, I don't want to leave you in suspense for very long if you haven't ever read this chapter. Paul goes down to where he is, raises him back up. This is great. Every preacher loves this. Raises him back up, takes him back upstairs, finishes his message, okay? I'm not done yet, guys. I got 3 more points, okay? But what I love about this is this, in retrospect, now that we have the chance to look at this, this is kind of funny if you think about it. This poor kid falls asleep, falls to his death, brings him back to life. Paul's go back to preaching. Ha, 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 let's move on. But wait a minute. This happened. Think about the moment when this poor young boy falls out of this window and dies. Can you imagine? Mom and dad see him dead. Let's think about Paul for a second. He's trying to help these people, and he's like, oh my goodness, I should have done a better job teaching them before now. I shouldn't have been where I had to pile it on one night. Look, what I was trying to do that was good has caused someone's death. Imagine all the questions, all the concerns, all the difficult things that must have been going through everybody's mind. We're at church. We're serving God. We're risking our life for this thing. We're doing everything we know to do, and something totally horrible happens. This is an insult. This is an insult to my faith. How could I believe in a God who would bring this boy to church only to let him die? How could I? You just can see where these thoughts could have possibly started to go. However, the story wasn't over. Now, we don't know how long it took Paul to get down there. We don't know how long it took Paul to pray for this boy. Now, with retrospect, we think it might have taken maybe 20 seconds, We don't know. Could have taken an hour. Let's say while he's down there for an hour, think about all the people and what they're saying upstairs. Think about it just for a moment. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But he comes back up and a miracle has happened. It's hard to put time on something like this, but how about in our world? You're believing God, standing for faith, serving the Lord, doing the best you can, and then something bad happens. Something that seems so unforeseen, something that seems so unfair. God, I was serving you. I was doing everything I could do, and you let something like this happen? Why would you do that? Why would a loving God do that? Well, guess what? Maybe the story's not over yet. Maybe what you thought was a period was just a comma. It was just a take a breath, and then God tells the rest of the story. And when I thought about that, that brought me so much hope, because there's so many times in my life that I have gone through things. And I went through these short seasons that seemed so long at the time where I questioned, God, are you really going to be faithful this time? God, are you really going to do this? And then eventually God would do something at the right time and make it wonderful. And now that I look back at it, it seems so quick and so simple. And it seemed like God was always going to do something, but it didn't feel like that in the moment. And it reminds me that in the moments I'm in right now, in the moments while I'm waiting in my life for Paul to come back upstairs with that young man, in moments where I'm waiting on God to answer prayer, it seems so long right now, but in retrospect, years from now, it's going to seem so short. Can I tell you what I truly, truly believe in my heart? Many of us right now, as it's July 2020, we're going through this COVID mess. We're going through all of the national uproar over the racism things and the defund the police things and the statue things and the political things and the murder hornet things and all the other things and all the things. And it just seems like this season is just stretching on. And 2020 has been about 3 years so far, even though we're only halfway through it. And it seems so long. Well, you know what I think? I think years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to go, man, well, that was intense, but it didn't last long. I remember vaguely it seemed like it took forever, but it didn't. Time was passing like normal. God was still faithful. And do you remember when he did that thing? Remember when he did that thing and God was always with us? Oh my goodness, I'm just so glad that it was just so obvious that God was going to do something. Wasn't it obvious God was going to do something? Yeah, but we think later we're going to look and go, well, of course. But it's in the middle of it that we tend to forget how faithful God is. So I just want to encourage you today, like it encouraged me, is maybe if you're in the middle and God hasn't yet come through, it's not because your story is over, it just means you're in the middle. So don't give up, because you may have seen a dream, something important, fall through a window and die, but don't worry, he's going to come back upstairs in a little while and he's going to be alive because God is with you. And I just want to know in the comments below if maybe that encouraged you today. I don't know what God's going to say to you, but I tell you what I do know. God loves you more than you understand. He's with you more than you realize. You're probably doing better than you realize. You know why? Because you got up one more day. God has not changed his mind about you. I love you so much. I can't wait to see you here tomorrow, right here on Daily.